why don't we get started? We're going to tell some stories here. And I guess I'm going to get started with just, I'm going to get started with just talking to it was just 4 weeks ago that, that I was, okay, it was just 4 weeks ago that was a Sunday, exactly 4 weeks ago, and I was in visiting Dad.
Unplug it. Just unplug it.
Okay, so it's tough to be your own tech person. So I was in visiting Dad 4 weeks ago, and you know, it was just a nice visit. He was fine. He had been at McDonald's that morning. He was feeling good. He had been, you know, driving around, everything. He was just tired. And he thought something maybe wasn't quite right. Of course, he would never complain to me. And we're telling lots of the old stories that we always do. And the next morning, my sister Debbie called him, and he said, "Yeah, I really don't feel so good." And of course, he would never go in the ambulance ever. So she said, "Well, I think you better go to the hospital." And they took him in, and they checked his blood level, and it was, a friend of mine told me, it was basically at a level where he should have been dead at that point. So, but anyway, he wasn't, and they did some tests, and they after a couple of days, they said, you know, there just aren't any medical things to do. He had a big tumor below his stomach, and he was going to bleed out, maybe a day or two, they thought, but it turned out being about 10 days, and we had a great time of just our family being together and laughing, and he just went to his house and got to say goodbye to everybody a couple times, right, Patty? He'd say goodbye, and then he'd say goodbye again, and then it's like, all right, fine, we're done now. So, but it was, and a friend of mine, an older Jewish woman, said that they call that, in her faith, they call that the supreme goodnight kiss. When you get to pass away in a way that is just really peaceful, and it just goes really well. So anyway, so that was nice. I thought about some memories from Dad from years ago, and he always told me that when he was born, July 31st, 1926, you know, his mother took in laundry to make some extra money for the family, and on the day Dad was born, his mom got up and did laundry that afternoon. She had him in the morning and did laundry in the afternoon. Now, conversely, when my mom was born, her mom stayed in bed for 2 weeks after she was born, so that was more the norm those days. When I was a little kid, I know my dad would always, I'd be getting beat up by my sister pretty regularly, and my sister Debbie, and Dad would always say, "Debbie, you better watch out. You know, my sister Blanche beat me up for years, and then one time I hit her so hard I knocked her unconscious." And so I was always like waiting for my moment, and we had this one big fight, and Debbie won again, and I was crying again, and after that, Debbie and I never fought again. She was smart enough, so I never had my big moment of being able to knock her unconscious. But yeah, it was just, you know, it was just such a different time when Dad was a kid. He talks about his dad had his earliest memory was driving in a Model T over to Mannheim, and then driving back in a Model A because his dad had bought another car. And then in that Model A, when Dad was 12, Grandma really couldn't hardly drive, and Dad would drive to school and back at 12 years old. And the only policeman in town didn't have a car, so they really didn't have to worry about the police catching them. Yeah, and then as he, just lots of stories, but one of my favorites, just as he was getting ready, you know, the war was on, and they all knew that they were going when they were in high school, and he was always a really good-looking guy, and he had a teacher, and he always said she was only a couple years older than me, and she was real pretty, and he was up at the blackboard for something, and she was at her desk, and she had this long dark hair, he said, and he just pushed the hair to the side and kissed her on the back of the neck. And he said, she got bright red and said, "Don't you ever do that again." But he said, you know, she's just a couple years older than me, and I was going to war. I mean, it was just... So, were you going to say something, John?
I was going to say, that was Miss Cook or Miss Miller, right?
Yeah, Miss Miller, that's what he said it was, yeah.